It's funny because entrepreneurship has always been a part of my journey. And when I say always, I mean literally always. Even when I was around 3 to 5 years old and I used to dream of becoming a doctor, I didn't just want to be a doctor. I used to dream about owning my own practice. And I used to think about people would come to my practice and I would help them and they would say, "Thank you, Dr. Jones," or whatever. And it wasn't because I had some major big head or something like that, but I just genuinely wanted to help people. That was always my goal, was helping people. And then them thanking me was the fact that I actually solved their problem. I actually listened to them and solved their problem. That was always my goal. And so later on in life, I did go on to become a medical assistant, which was still good. I enjoyed my time working at hospitals and urgent cares and things like that, and doing splints and stuff and giving injections. I've done the thing, but there was another part of myself that was always creative. Always, since I could remember, I've always loved to draw and color, but we couldn't always afford drawing pads and things like that. So I just remember these agencies that used to help single moms, single parents, low income households. And I just remember how every Christmas they would ask us what we wanted. And we would write down our list of Christmas things that we wanted, my sister and I. And it was just the best thing ever to wake up and hear the doorbell ring and get these amazing gifts from people just donating and giving their hard-earned money and time to care for other people. And so it was really nice. They always gave me all the art supplies that I asked for, no matter if it was color pencils or drawing pads or some type of paint set. I always wanted some type of art set, and that's exactly what I got. And I absolutely love those times. It was such a simpler time. A lot of those things are still true to this day. I've always wanted to help people, and I've always known that in some way. And I've always wanted to essentially own my own practice or own my own business. And creativity has been a part of my life. But the biggest problem that I faced as I got older was I didn't know how to take the helping people and the creativity and my love of entrepreneurship and combining all of that and then turning it into something that I genuinely love and enjoy doing and waking up to every single day. I didn't know how to convey that. So I spent a lot of time, I mean, a lot of time doing so many business ideas. It was truly insanity. I've done lip gloss businesses, stationery businesses, I've done home decor, and of course, I always talk about this in every video, but I've also been a fashion designer. There's my sewing machine right there. You can't see my serger off to the side here. I've also dabbled in art, and now in my previous video, I mentioned that I'm getting back into home decor again because for this business, Gallery 713, I just genuinely feel like I'm finally finding my footing, and I genuinely feel like this business is like all the things that I've accumulated over the years since that dream of becoming a doctor, that dream of being an entrepreneur, all the lip gloss business, the stationery, everything combined in that now is the gallery, essentially is what it is. And I think the reason why I jumped around so much was because it just felt so confusing to me. One reason why it was confusing was because, of course, being such a multi-passionate person, I didn't want to settle down on one thing. And then the other part was I just didn't know what the heck I was doing in any of these businesses. So I just kept jumping from thing to thing. And I'm sure if you're a small business owner and you're multi-passionate, I'm sure you can relate to that as well. You've probably done so many things and it just feels very challenging to settle down. But to be honest, I knew that that couldn't be me because I am a multi-passionate creative person, and that just won't work for me. So I knew that I needed to do something to help me to create all of these different ideas, mesh them all together. But I just could not for the life of me figure out how to do that. So that's why I was jumping from thing to thing and feeling all over the place, feeling overwhelmed, starting this one business and then feeling like it's not working out after I've pretty much already done all of the work for the website or the social media. Then I start posting or I start putting up my products on the website and I don't like any of it, or I'm like, this just does not feel like me. Why doesn't it feel like me? I don't know how to make this work or how to make this feel like me. I was just spinning my wheels constantly over and over and over again, and it drove me crazy. It was truly the definition of insanity to keep doing this over and over and over again. But you can't help, of course, what you don't know. So that's why I was doing it over and over and over again, is because I didn't know what to do. What are you supposed to do? You try to look for so many different tips and tricks here and there. You're getting totally different, contradicting advice from this person and that person. This person tells you to do this one thing and hone in on that. Then this person over here tells you to just do whatever you want to do. Like, there's so much different advice out there. And I won't necessarily say that it's wrong advice, because that's the point of business. Like me, for example, as a business owner, I talk to people who enjoy a little bit more of a simpler approach. There's a little bit of structure, there's a little bit of strategy in there, but at the same time, it allows you to be free and do the things that you love and show up as you are and create the things that you want to create and do it in a genuine way. But for somebody else, they might tell you something completely different because that's their business model. That's how their business and their brand is set up to do that. So I think that's where the conflict comes from with all the contradicting advice, is because that's kind of what business is. Not everybody is going to have the same philosophy. Not everybody's going to have the same values. Not everybody's going to have the same branding and style and just everything. When I went through this, I like to call it a breakthrough versus a breakdown. But I had a moment where things just really took a nosedive for me. I was just feeling so overwhelmed in this business, in my fashion business. And I was just feeling like totally defeated and down and stressed out and overwhelmed, overstimulated, everything. I just had so many different emotions at once and I didn't know what to do anymore. But I'm telling you, I bought all the things. I did all of these things that people were suggesting, and I still didn't really get anywhere with my fashion business. It just didn't take off the way that I thought it would. I shared this before, but when I got to my breaking point and I was just here in this room, at the time it was more of a sewing kind of room, but I was just standing here and I was holding my sewing patterns in my hands and I just threw them here on the floor and I'm like, I can't do this anymore. I'm literally losing it. I left out of here and I went into my living room and then I just laid there on the couch, just feeling defeated, depressed, and it was just a very scary time and a very scary moment for me because I didn't know what else to do. And I literally felt like if I didn't have fashion design, that I would have nothing else. And I was literally telling people that. I was like, if I don't have this, then I have nothing else. So it has to work. It has to. And I feel like that couldn't have been any further from the truth. But I didn't know that, and I wouldn't have known that yet until I had to go along this journey. I discovered branding, and then it led me down the path of discovering brand coaches and brand strategists. So when I finally discovered branding, but from a person that I really resonated with and I understood what they were saying, it all just started to make sense. They were talking about personal branding and business branding and brand identity, which is like your colors and your fonts and different things like that. And all of it just started to make sense. And I'm like, this is what I was missing the entire time. This is what I felt like I needed. And so I fell in love with branding. It was the awakening really that I actually needed. The middle to end of 2023 was just so game changing and so eye opening that it really just showed me all of the things that I was missing and the things that would allow me to finally truly be and become the person that I wanted to be. Because with branding, it's not just about your brand fonts or your colors and things like that. I know a lot of people think that about branding, and it's still a part of it. but it's not all of it. It's levels to this, I like to say. Oftentimes we look for answers outside ourselves when really the answer is within you. And that's something that I had to pay attention to and realize that when I went through this journey of figuring out my brand and my branding, I was like, wow, it's basically personal growth. It's basic self-discovery and understanding who you are as a person and who you want to become, what you want to be known for, the types of things that you want to be known for, what your skills and your expertise are, what you're good at. And I don't just mean book smarts, I mean street smarts too, things that you learned over the years, things that you've gathered, things that you've seen. This could even be things that you've learned in school, things that you have degrees for, things that you don't have degrees for, that you just learned on YouTube University. When I went through this journey of building my brand and doing all the brand foundations like Branding 101, I had to take a step back first and go within myself and start asking myself a lot of different questions that I didn't know at first. And these are the things that really awakened it for me and really helped me to see, whoa, these are the things that have been missing from this puzzle, in a sense. These are the things that have been missing that is the reason why I've been feeling like lost and just defeated and overwhelmed, is because I was so looking outside myself for the answers that I already had within me. And I was searching for things outside of myself that was really blocking me from doing this very thing that I'm doing right now, because I wasn't able to do this before, just sit here on camera and freely talk and share my ideas and things like that. It was because I was constantly looking for answers on what type of videos and things to post, when really it was more so, what things do I have to offer? What things do I bring to the table that I could share with somebody out there that maybe they don't know? Even if I only have 5 to 10% more knowledge than someone else, that's still good enough. It's not like I need to know everything, because I don't, and nobody does. But the best thing that, because I know enough, I can then share that with somebody else who maybe didn't know that at all. And then that could also help somebody. And that's kind of like the point here of YouTube even. I really had to start at the beginning, the branding 101, the brand foundation. And really, when I started there, I started to really understand what it is I was good at, my soft skills, my hard skills. I started to understand what I brought to the table. I started to understand the type of products or services that I could create with my abilities, with my skills and my expertise, and not just things that I was just trying to do. I finally started to understand the type of content that I wanted to talk about when I show up here on social media. I started to understand how I wanted my brand and my business to look, like the fonts, the colors, the vibe, even something like this where it's more of a moody light. I could turn this light on above me, but it really just doesn't create the vibe that I'm going for. But all of these things that I did prior to this really is what's helping me paint the picture as to what my brand and business looks like, as to what my products or my services look like, the tone of voice when I'm speaking to you all now here on camera sound in ways that I didn't want my business to sound like. And so I want to leave you with 5 journaling prompts that I believe can really help you start to understand these branding foundations that'll really help you to start thinking and gain some awareness for the things that you might be missing from your brand of business, that might be keeping you stuck, that might be keeping you jumping from thing to thing and unclear on content ideas and things like that, or understanding what your foundations of your brand and business is. So I wrote them down. And so I want you to think about, where do you see yourself in your business in the next 1 to 5 years? I know this one might be a little bit hard, but also think about where you see your brand and business within the next 10 to 20 years. I know that that sounds like a lot, But it's for a good cause. It's for a good reason, because when you allow yourself to start to dream a bit bigger, there's no limits to how much further you can grow and how much further your brand and business will grow, and the type of products and things like that that you can start to create over time. Now I don't only think about my sales that are happening in the moment, or sales that I'm not getting in the moment, or a product that didn't sell. I'm like, well, that didn't work out. So now we have to pivot. Now we have to do something else different, because now I'm thinking more about the long-term goals, the long-term vision and plan that I have. It's not just about what did or didn't happen today, tomorrow, or the next day. It's a long game, is what it is. Journal prompt number 2, describe the impact you want to make in your community, the world, or in the lives of others. So I was so afraid to start my YouTube channel. And it was because I was so focused on myself then. And I wasn't thinking about other people, the type of impact that I wanted to have, the things that I wanted to share with people. And when I finally started to think about that impact, it allowed me to separate myself. And then I started to think, well, wait, I do want to record that video after all. I do want to move past my fear of public speaking, or even just sitting here with nobody around, just talking to myself on the camera. It really helped me to push through that and to say, I'm going to just hit the record button regardless, because I have something to say and I want to say it. Prompt number 3, how do you want people to feel when they come across your brand or business, or when they interact with you? When I was on social media, I saw a lot of people just sounding very condescending. I just felt like I wasn't their customer because of how they were speaking to their audience. And I was like, I probably wouldn't be their customer. And that's fine. You have to know, do you want to be a little bit more kind of raunchy and punchy, or do you want to be a little bit more calm and relaxed and different things like that? Or do you want to be a bit more corporate, or just more forward, or do you want to have a more softer approach? So prompt number 4 is, what beliefs matter most to you in your personal life and in your business? When I first learned about values, I learned about them in therapy, actually. At first, I didn't know that I even had values, because when my therapist asked me that, I was like, I don't know what my values are. And as a person that grew up very sheltered and was always just told what to do, I didn't realize that I had my own values. And that's so important, to understand your values, to understand what you personally stand for, and then to understand business values. Your personal values might be a little bit different than your business values, but for me, I noticed that they kind of overlap. It really helped me to understand what I stand for as a person and what my business and my brand stands for. When they're coming across your brand and they resonate with you and what you value, and they share those similar values, to share the same values or similar values as someone else, that's a very powerful thing within itself, because then you're like, we're on the same path here. We're sharing the same kind of mission and values here. So I have 6 values, but if having 6 values is a little bit too complicated, then start with your top 3 values. Start there. And the way that I did it was, I wrote, I believe in, or I believe that, I believe this, whatever it is. If you start with I believe, it'll really then help you to start thinking about things that you genuinely believe in, that you actually do value. So that's how I came up with all of my brand values. And so I came up with things like, I believe in creativity. I value that. I value other people's creativity. I value self-care and well-being. I realized how important that was to me. I value being genuine in my approach, because I believe that your energy is everything and people can feel that energy. But if you just start with your top 3 values, that's good enough. And then you can put that on everything. You can put it on your website. You can talk about it on your social media and really share that with people and go into depth about it, about why you actually value those things. This really helps you to start not only creating those values within your business, but you start to actually live by those values within your business. Journal prompt number 5 is, why is this business, this idea, these products Why are they so important to you and your ideal customer beyond the financial aspect? Why do you want to wake up every day and do this business? What would it mean to you every day to wake up and do this business? Why is this so important to you? Why is this product so important to get out to this group of customers, your ideal customer? Why is that important? When I really started to dive deeper into this, it really helped set the tone for a lot of different things, because I wasn't thinking about this business and that business and I need to jump here and do this and do that. I was now like, well, I want to wake up every day and do Gallery 713 or Tamika Marie, the personal brand here on my YouTube channel. I want to share things that I've learned over the years about business, about branding, and sharing my personal growth journey. It really helped me to really understand who I was and what I wanted to give, what I can offer the world, basically, is what this really helped me to understand about myself. Even when I'm not making any money in my business, or when my content is only getting 1 or 2 likes, I'm thinking beyond that. And this is what keeps me going every single day. This is what keeps me showing up, because I have a bigger purpose than the financial aspect of it. And so that's why I think that this question is so important. I think that all of these things are really important to journal on. I really do hope that this video inspired you or guided you in some way. If it did, I would really appreciate if you could give this video a thumbs up, hype the video, which I still haven't figured out how to do yet. But if you know how to do it, please give this video a hype, give it a thumbs up, comment down below if it did help you in some way, and maybe let me know what part really helped you out. I would love to know. It really just helps me keep creating videos like this. Oh, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you want to see more. So I thank you guys so much for tuning into today's video, and I'll talk to you soon.